Okay. I want to walk you through a simple thought experiment in human programming and systems design. I've taken a complex idea and stripped it down to literally the most elementary building blocks, shapes, colors, and just a few rules. So imagine that I'm showing you this black and white image with, the heart, this the star and the triangle and then the circle around them. I haven't told you what it is, but your brain is already working, right? The heart and the star sit side by side like eyes, and then the triangle looks like a nose. And then the circle, suggests a face, which I mean, with almost no information, your mind is already like constructing meaning. Um, so yeah, just hold that image in your mind. Okay, now I'm going to show you a second image. So it looks completely different at first glance, but it's made from the exact same four elements. Only, well, this time there are in a color version. This is a colored version, and it's also rearranged. So you see a red heart, a purple star, the blue circle, and a green triangle, but in a completely different layout. So really the question is here, are these two images the same or are they different, right? Because on one level, they share the same components, so we sense a correlation. But then on another level, the story that they tell kind of feels different because the arrangement has changed, right? Um, And this is the core of my framework, actually, how simple elements reordered can create different narratives. So um, hang on to all of this. Right, just hang on to this. All right, so this is the framework essentially. This is my framework that I'm introducing to you. From the pictures, I've built what I called a gamified guide to human systems. So think of this as like a four by four matrix that uses four colors, four domains of life, and four state codes to kind of help you see patterns and design better outcomes. So first the colors, right? So we're working with the primary colors. Um, yeah, we work with the four primary codes: the red, blue, green, purple, and then these colors are familiar and reinforced by everyday life. So I'm not importing like anything exotic or untestable. And then we've got the domains, which is what they map to right here. So red for self, blue for work, green for relationships, purple for impact. Um, like how you show up in the world or like results or whatever. So if you remember just these four words, self work, relationship, impact, you'll notice that almost everything in your life kind of nests inside one or more of them. And then there's also an order of operations, right? Like the natural flow, which is the red, blue, green, purple. So self to work to relationship to impact. And it can also flow in reverse as well. So purple, green, blue, red. The sequence is essentially a circuit of the system. It's how things kind of move and evolve. So, yeah, the state codes, I might still workshop the name, but it's essentially like describing how energy is behaving. So now beyond like where something is or like where something sits, like the self work relationship impact, we also care about how it is behaving. So for that, I use state codes, and you can think of these as like modes or charges or energy states. So with whole being this purple color, this is an all encompassing integrated state. Exchange, the green one is like, interaction, friction, transfer, transition, those types of ideas. And then we've got kinetic, which is like the structured, active, finite state, something in motion. And then potential is the becoming, right? Like that infinite, not yet realized state. If you like physics metaphors, then like you would get the kinetic and potential energy aspect. I think they map out pretty nicely to push and pull, and then the complete and becoming being like infinite and finite, or finite and infinite. You get what I'm saying. You can also layer on metaphors like positive and negative charge if that's useful, but you know, I like intentionally left out the specific icons. I just left them open so that you can kind of choose shapes that resonate with them for you. Um, but visually, I often kind of treat, like the whole as a form that contains both positive and negative, both inner and outer. And then the exchange to me always is like that delta symbol or a triangle representing like change or transition. But then again, it's like this is just like a plug and play system. Like the rules are fixed, but the symbols are customizable. So let me just write it as I'm saying so that you can visually see what I mean by like the positive and negative, inner, outer. Like I'll just use like something simple here to illustrate that. Let me keep the colors. I want to keep everything kind of aligned with the color that it maps out to, so that you eventually start to see the threads. So like positive and negative. Yeah, but like I said, this is just to like a visual aid. Feel free to do whatever makes sense for you. But I hope that seeing it this way kind of helps simplify things, but also systematizes things as well. Um, because the power of this model is that the brain responds to shapes and colors much faster than to abstract language. So once you know that, for example, you know, red is self and is often associated with the heart at the center, then your mind begins to make like these types of super rich associations before like I say anything. Um, so just keeping that in mind. And yeah, I probably don't even need to do this, but I've already started, so I'm gonna finish it. Um, but yeah, so when I show you, for example, hold on here, this right here, when I show you this colored version of this image with a red heart, purple star, blue circle, and green triangle, you're not just seeing like these shapes anymore, right? You're seeing a story about self, impact, work, and relationships, and how they're interacting in like a particular configuration and state. You understand what I'm saying? Like it gives you like a structured yet playful way to approach complex problems, like I was saying, instead of getting like lost in language. Um, and yeah, you can, this right here is another visual example um, of how quickly the mind just maps things, right? Um, you're looking at, hold on. Yeah, okay. So, yeah, this right here, I mean, like I said, I don't really have to say much. Your brain's kind of already solved, like, organizing things. You now have become a conductor of sorts because you know a framework, you know a system, you know like the rules of the game essentially. And yeah, like I use this framework as like a back to basics tool in consulting, problem solving, and systems design. It's super holistic, right? Without being vague. You're always at least covering self, work, relationships, and impact. And because each has a color and a state, you're effectively looking through multiple lenses at once. So it makes it a really excellent guide for, you know, excuse me, resolution work, strategic planning, and even personal reflection. And like over time, I plan to unpack more examples so you can see how almost any situation fits into these four parts and how, reordering them changes the story. But hopefully, this was like a good exercise. And yeah, follow for more.